Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with a wrap-up video for our Playing on a Budget. I actually liked how this deck worked. I really think, and I tend not to like the people who are like, oh, if my opponents didn't draw this and this and this and this, but I really did feel like the draws 100% went in my opponent's favor these last 5 games than it did in my favor. As far as the top decking, when both of us were out of cards, and just the subsequent draws that a lot of them had, especially in those Green Devotion decks, it was the perfect sequence of cards over and over and over. So I'm thinking, what I'm trying to explain is if we play this enough times, I'm thinking that it will shine more than it fails. So there's a few changes I would make to the deck. I definitely add another Crux of Fate, maybe take out a Drown in Sorrow, or maybe even go up. I actually have 3 Drown in Sorrows now I'm looking at the list, and maybe go up to a 4th Drown in Sorrow in the sideboard, as it has so many relevant matchups right now. Typhoid Rats seemed very weak. I would cut these for sure from the side. And that way we can get the other Crux. And then we can throw the other Crux in here, as well as another Drown in Sorrow. And I'm thinking Erebos absolutely needs to be in the sideboard, not the main board. This gives us another slot in our main board, which could actually be a main board at either Bile Blight or Drown in Sorrow, Hero's Downfall. I'm thinking it's going to be a Hero's Downfall. Now, if you're not on a budget, it's Thoughtseize. And you run 4 of Thoughtseizes, and you just put another card into the sideboard slot, like possibly like an Agent of the Fates. This card is kind of iffy, or even the Merciless Executioner has kind of been iffy for me. So I'm thinking Merciless Executioner. I'm thinking 2 of these can actually go to the sideboard. And then that will put the last spot for the Thoughtseize and the last Crux of Fate. And that's the version that I'd run. I'm just going to hurry and put those cards in. So Crux, and we'll spell Crux correctly. So Crux would absolutely come. 1 more to the side, so 1 main, 1 side. And then 2 more Thoughtseizes. I'm also open to the thought of running a... I was going to say Tasigur, but there's no way to actually make the mana for Tasigur. Like, you'd have to go into another color for Tasigur, but I'm actually thinking that Tasigur would be very powerful in this deck. And then you could run blue. I don't know what blue would give you. The dragon doesn't seem so bad, the one that gives -1/-1 when it attacks. That's a good token killer. But, yeah, Tasigur, either green would be kind of fun, too. You could go commune with the gods instead of Sign in Blood. And that'd do twofold. It'd give some stuff in your graveyard for the Palace Siege, but just really set up your hand. But that'd really be the only thing I'd add from the green, would be Tasigur and Commune. So there, and then if it's by that point, you almost want Siege Rhino in this deck and add the white. So that if you're really not on a budget, you can mess around with Palace Siege with both the Gray Merchants and this. It says Squelching Leeches. You definitely have the Siege Rhinos, and then. But you'd be more heavy reliant on hitting your Palace Siege combination and then have to run a ton of control. But then you have access to even Utter End and some other cool cards. But for right now, if the best thing you can do for additions to this deck is adding a couple Thoughtseizes. And I wouldn't even be against the idea of Despise in some numbers in the sideboard. So overall, I did like this deck. I think that it underperformed and didn't overperform, so I was happily surprised with how this ran. I don't think it was a miserable failure. So with this one, I do give a thumbs up for it. Let me know in the comments what you would add. Let me know if you would, splash for Tasigur. I think it'd be worth it. I mean, Polluted Deltas wouldn't be hard at all. Just puts 4 Polluted Deltas and 4 comes into play tap lands or actually all of them. All of them comes into play tap lands through the Temple of Deceits as well as the Gain Life ones. And then you have plenty of access to blue mana, which could even translate into the sideboard to negates if you really want negates. But I think that keeping it as heavy black as possible for Gray Merchant is good. But you do have access to Tasigur, which is just an insane card if you can manipulate your library through Delve, through like the Murderous Cuts and whatnot, to force back certain cards over and over and over. Like Hero's Downfall is coming back or Gray Merchant's coming back is very powerful with Tasigur. So let me know in the comments what you think and how you think this performed. If I am just out of touch reality and I actually top decked as well as my opponents, or if I did get unlucky. And I think this week especially, it just seemed like my opponents drew answer after answer that they needed in those matchups and whatnot. But anyway, this has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.